Hey y'all, it's Joe from Joe's Monogram Vacations. Hope you're having a great week so far. So for those of you who maybe, sorry, this is like all shaky. For those of you who maybe haven't watched one of my videos before, what I do is I just keep an eye peeled when I'm going through emails, talking to clients on the phone, and when they ask me a question that I think, you know what, other people want to know this too, I hop on here and kind of make a video about it. So I was asked a question yesterday that I thought, honestly, this should have been my very first video that I ever did. This is the question I am asked most often, not just by clients, but by friends, family. My husband has asked me this before, and that is, when is the best time to buy flights? I know what you're thinking. I bet I know what you're thinking. I bet you're thinking, duh, it's Tuesday. Everybody knows it's Tuesday mornings or Tuesday afternoons, or sorry, I don't know why this is doing this. Tuesday mornings, Tuesday afternoons, Tuesday at midnight, whatever it is you've read. And just to check, I Googled, when is the best time to buy flights? And sure enough, everything that came up was Tuesday, 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 Tuesday. So I'm gonna share with you my personal experience about this, and then I did some research, not just on the Google, and talk to you about what I found with that too. My personal experience, it doesn't matter when you buy flights. You might get the best price on a Tuesday. You might get the best price on a Friday. You could get a best price on a Thursday at 3 a.m. There is no telling. I have never been able to detect a rhyme or reason or pattern for flight pricing. This goes for clients. You know, I don't book flight only. Most of the time I'll say, you know, if you're saying, hey, we're traveling to Chicago for the weekend, can you book my flights? I'll say your best bet is to purchase directly with the airline. I only do flights if they're packaged with a vacation. But I do check on them. I'm always happy to just check and see where the best prices are, help you out, because I do this all the time. I also do this for my own vacations. So a couple of years ago, it's really sad, for the first time ever, I moved away. So 4 years ago was the first time in my entire life I was not driving distance to Walt Disney World. And I go to Walt Disney World a lot. And we had to start flying there, and it made me sad. Because it is an expense, it is a hassle, I hear ya. And so I started really trying to figure out what my best options were, because when we lived in Louisiana, we would fly maybe once a year, once every other year. My husband flew sometimes for work, but you know, we didn't fly everywhere we go. Now that we live in the middle of America, we fly everywhere. The only place I don't fly is if I'm going to St. Louis for a training, or I have a couple friends that live in Oklahoma that I can go visit. That's about it. Everywhere else, I'm taking a plane. So I've really started watching this, and I have never seen any evidence that makes me think Tuesday is the best day to buy flights. Again, that's just my experience. And while I am a professional, I do this for a living, I do not load flight prices. I do not work for an airline. So I thought, hey, I'll check and see. I want to do some research. And when I say research, I do not mean, like I said, I Googled when is the best time to buy flights and saw what popped up. No, I made some phone calls. I talked to some people. And that is still true. It does not matter when you buy flights. The whole Tuesday myth came from years ago, kind of not the dawn of the internet, but the early days of the internet, when people were starting to purchase flights online. Everything was manually loaded, and it was loaded on a Monday. And so they would load all the information, load the fares into their site on Mondays, into their booking engine, and then it would take effect on Tuesday. And so Tuesday is when there would be the lowest fares, the most availability. Back in those days, it was worth your while to figure out when your airline site updated, whether it was like midnight, 2 in the morning, 6 in the morning, whatever, hop on there and get those flights then. It's 2019. That's not the case anymore. These sites, these booking engines, these manifests, they are uploaded in real time. They are updated all the time, not uploaded. So there's not a magic time. Obviously, airlines know about this myth. It is so huge, and so they kind of exploit it. So I just noticed today, I got 2 emails today from different airlines that they're having a big sale. Well, I've been looking at flights to Pensacola for later this year and also a flight to LA. So I just hopped on just to see, like, maybe they are a better rate. It was exactly the same as when I checked like on Sunday. Nothing has changed. So here is my advice. Buy a flight when you find the flight that you like, that you can live with, when it's a price you can stomach. That is my advice. Now, there are a couple little hints I've got when we're looking at flights, some tricks that I use when I'm looking for personal stuff, when I'm looking for clients. Google Flights is where I go to. I don't check Kayak, Expedia, any of those. I go to Google Flights because they're unbiased. They aren't selling the flights, so they don't have a reason to promote a single airline over another, whereas like Kayak, they've got skin in the game and they're trying to make a profit. So they're going to push what's going to make them money. Sorry, but it's true. So I go to Google Flights because I also like the search parameters. I think it's really easy to use to check if you can fly out of a couple different airports, if you're open to different dates. I just think that search engine is really good. Then I also go to Southwest Direct. I go to their website direct because Southwest fares don't populate on other search engines, so Google Flights doesn't show Southwest. And depending on the trip, if I'm interested in Allegiant, I'll go to their page also. They don't populate on those searches either. So if Allegiant is something you're interested in, you would want to book that. Spirit, Frontier are also kind of that same sort of bargain airline, but they do populate on Google Flights, Google Matrix, the big search engines for flights. You will see them there. You do want to be aware of Spirit, Allegiant, Frontier. I know I'm missing one right now. If somebody can think of the one that I'm missing, please comment. Their fares are going to look very attractive, very low, fantastic, and then you realize you're paying more for every upgrade. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at fares. You know, if you're looking at Delta, just make sure you're researching the airline. Delta includes 1 checked bag. Southwest includes 2. American, United don't include any. So, and then you've got your, what I call bargain airlines, and I don't necessarily, bargain airlines is more like it. They're not as much of a bargain as maybe you think they are once you start factoring in all those things that you need to add, your bags, checking your seats, having a glass of water. I don't know. They charge for everything. It's ridiculous. So that's how I search online. One thing that I've always done is I use Google Chrome. That's the browser I typically use. Sometimes I use Safari, but 99% of the time I use Chrome when I'm on the internet. And I will open up an incognito browser. I was told years ago the reason you use an incognito browser is because the airlines search or keep track of what flights, what dates, what times are searched. When they see that December 1st is being searched a lot, they're going to jack up those prices. And that may be true. But I also learned yesterday, a couple days ago, another reason that using a private browser is important, or clearing your cookies or logging out of your account, is so that they can't track your searches and your price history. They are not supposed to do this. This is supposedly illegal for airlines to do. However, some have been caught doing it. And so they will change the price based on your purchase history and what they think you will pay for. So what I do is I have, an account with Southwest, an account with Delta. I do not log into my account until I've selected the flights that I want, and then I log in. Maybe it doesn't make a difference because they really aren't supposed to do that, but they've been caught doing it before. I think the major airlines are the ones who have been caught doing it before. Amazon's also been caught doing it before, which made me really scared when I saw that because I spend a lot of money on Amazon. And I'm always logged in on Amazon. So that being said, that's just a trick. Use an incognito browser and don't sign into your account until you're ready to check out. Another thing that I do is, instead of buying a round trip ticket, sometimes it's in your best interest to buy 2 one-way tickets. So for example, I was looking at flights to LA. I actually booked one leg and am going to book the other leg once I find something that I can stomach. The flights, Thanksgiving weekend is holiday. In case you didn't know this, holiday travel is crazy expensive. Some people don't know that. Sometimes I get emails like, we want to go on a cruise at Thanksgiving. We figure everybody will be home eating turkey together. And I'm like, no, everybody else wants to go on a cruise too, I promise. So just know, flights, just like vacations, more expensive, more crowded during holidays. That's just the way it is. So the dates that I was looking at were really high. So it was cheaper for me to purchase the tickets each leg separate. That's not always the case, but it's worth checking. If a round trip ticket costs $300 and then each one way is $120, buy each one way, do 2 separate transactions. Again, that will not always be the case, and a lot of airlines, Southwest is the one I personally use the most, actually list their flights out priced each way. So when it doesn't cost more to do a round trip flight, but some don't do that. So it's just worth checking. Sometimes it is less expensive to do it that way. So, it doesn't take much longer. And you also want to consider what does best mean? When's the best time to get the best flight? Well, that means different things to different people. And there's not a right answer to this. It's different for everyone. Best to you might mean the least expensive, plain and simple. Or it might mean leaving out of the airport nearest your home. It might mean a one-way flight. It might mean a particular airline that you prefer. So you want to consider your priorities when you're looking at fares. They are not all created equal, as I mentioned earlier. Your money is going to go farther on certain airlines than on others because it includes more. And you're not having to pay extra for everything you need on that flight. For me, when I'm flying with my family, I will pay a little bit more for a direct flight. I do not want to do a layover with my kids. I mean, I don't want to fly with my kids, let's be honest, but I have to. So I just want to leave here and get there. I do not want any layovers anywhere. When it's just me, I'm a little bit more flexible. So I'll just be honest with y'all. Again, a lot of y'all know this. There are certain airlines, American Airlines, that I hate. In this world, they are a necessary evil. I fly them when I have to. I book them for clients when I have to, but I don't like them. And I will not fly them with my children. We had an experience one time, and I will never fly American with my children again. But a couple summers ago, my friend from home adopted a baby, and we were all going down to visit her, and American was less expensive. The connection, I had a layover, and now I can't remember where it was, but it wasn't somewhere that made sense. It wasn't like Atlanta. I was going out of the way to get to Pensacola. So I was on an airline that I hated. It wasn't a great itinerary, but because it was just me, I was able to be more flexible. Whereas if I were bringing my family with me, I would have paid more for a direct flight on an airline that I'm more comfortable with, if that makes sense. So you do want to factor those in. When you do purchase a flight, definitely monitor that price of the flight for 24 hours. So if you book a flight and 24 hours later or less than 24 hours later, the price goes down, you can call the airline and have them matched. Southwest actually does not have that 24-hour limit. So let's say that I spent $300 on a round trip flight. And then later on I see that it's gone down to $270. In fact, you don't even have to call. I've done it online. It's super simple. You're not refunded that $30, but it becomes a Southwest credit and you have a year to use it. I fly a lot, so it's a lot of times if I'm considering flying something, I'll just book Southwest flights because if for some reason something falls through, I end up not going or I need to change things, I know it's going to be super easy. That's another thing, they don't charge for changes. And I know I'm going to use that money within a year because I do fly Southwest so often. If you don't fly very often, that might not be a good deal to you. And just so you know, if you're paying with points, they do the same thing. They'll refund you the points if that goes down as well. And it doesn't matter if it's the day before you're leaving. Anytime, you have to find it. It won't be automatic. But if you see that the price has gone down, they will credit your account, however much that is per person, which is great. One thing to keep in mind is one time we were flying somewhere, our flights went down, so I filled it out online, and I realized that all 4 of us each had a credit. So like the next time I flew, I wasn't able to use my children's credits for my flight. That was fine. Again, we used it, but just something to keep in mind depending on your travel habits. There's just a couple other ways that you can consider saving money on flights. One is packaging it with your vacation. So if you contact me and you're saying, hey, I want to go to Barbados for this week, I can price that out, just the room, or I can price that out as a package. And a lot of times it is the same amount of money or a savings to package it all together. When it's packaged all together, not only do you sometimes save money, but if you include travel protection, which if you're my client, you should always include travel protection. Even if you're not my client, go buy travel protection to your next vacation. Just do it. And I should do another video on how important that is and just talk about all the times my clients have needed that. But that's a totally different thing. If your flights are packaged with the rest of your vacation and something happens and you have to cancel, those flights are covered by your vacation package. Some vendors do cover flights when they're booked separately, most don't. So that's a great way to make sure your flights are covered if you have to cancel. It varies by vendor, it varies by airline, so when you're traveling we can definitely look at your options there, but that is something to consider. Also, a lot of times, not all the time, but for example, let's say that you are going to Barbados for a week and the flights are $2,000 and the stay is $2,000. So you could buy the flights with Delta, it's $2,000, book your room, $2,000. Or you could do it together. Well, the flights are gonna cost $2,000, but because you're packaging it together, there's a package rate for the room, so then it's $1,600. So you're saving $400. So there can definitely be a savings to packaging it together. That's why you want to use a travel agent, so I can look at all the different options and present you with the one that makes the most financial sense. And then also, you may have heard of charter flights. Charter flights always make me think of charter buses, which is what we called like big buses that took us on field trips and school trips in high school. Not quite the same, kind of, but charter flights are flights that are chartered by vacation providers. A really big one right now is Vacation Express. You may have seen that advertised in your hometown. They promote a lot of one-way flights to the Caribbean from major hubs in the US. And I work with Vacation Express, and they're great because like right now out of Kansas City, you can fly direct to Puerto Vallarta or to Punta Cana, and they're attractively priced, and they are again covered in your protection plan when you purchase that, and it's a direct flight. It's awesome. You can't book that flight elsewhere. That is a charter flight. It belongs to that company. So that is a really great resource when you're traveling, something that your travel agent, something that I can check on for you. Again, it can be complicated because there are just so many options. You want to make sure you're getting the best deal possible. So that's what I'm for. Also, one last thing about including flights in your vacation. So Princess Cruises is awesome with Alaska cruises, like phenomenal. They have Easy Air. So, and there's a couple cruise lines that have Easy Air. You can include flights in your package, and you don't have to pay for them until your final payment date. So, yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. So if you are, okay, it's September now, you want to go to Alaska next summer, your final payment's in March. We could set everything up, including your flights. You just pay the same deposit, and everything is due in March for you to travel next summer, and you're not paying for all of it now, which is nice. You can hold on to your own money longer. A lot of times, like Viking has had some really, really attractive airfare deals because they do river cruises in Europe, and the flights are a huge part of that budget to get over there. So they will offer great rates on their cruise and also discounted fares. There's a lot of ways when you're traveling, especially cruises, but vacation packages also, great ways to get deals on flights. So I hope that helps. You do have some resources out there. There are ways to get good deals on flights. I am here to help you do that. I don't want this to be an overwhelming thing for you, and I'm always happy to take care of these issues for my clients because that's why I'm here. I want to save you time, stress, and money so you can look forward to your dream vacation. I don't want you to be stressed out leading up to it. But the idea that shopping for flights on Tuesdays is a total myth. They are not cheaper on Tuesdays. I should have taken a screenshot of flights yesterday and then today and showed y'all. Like, they are the same. Sometimes they'll go up, sometimes they'll go down. Airlines know that you've heard this. They are going to try to push you to buy on Tuesdays because they know you think you're getting a good deal. It's like going to the grocery store and there's a sticker on the watermelon that says like everyday low price, and you think that means it's on sale, but it's not. It's the same price. They just put a sticker on it. That's what Tuesdays are for airlines. So don't let them play you. Just keep watching. When you see a price you can live with, grab it. That is always my advice. If you have any questions about flights, about different vacations, please let me know. I'm happy to help. Hope y'all have a great afternoon, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.